call the Iowa City Community Police Review Board meeting to order at 5:30. I'd like to consider a motion adopting the, can I get a roll call, please? Downing?
Here.
Jensen? McConnell?
Here.
Meekes?
Here.
Nichols here. Townsend?
Here.
And Stewart will be absent today.
Okay,
I have not heard from Melissa.
okay, thank you. Consider a motion adopting the consent calendar as presented or amended. That's the minutes of the meeting from May 10th and the Iowa City Police Department Use of Force Review Report from February.
So move. Second.
Is there any board discussion regarding the consent calendar? Can I get a roll call, please?
Nichols?
Aye.
McConnell? Aye.
Aye.
Meckes?
Aye.
Townsend?
Aye.
Jensen, not here. Downing?
Aye.
Thank you. There's no new business. Old business, the community forum. Did everyone get a chance to review the draft forum summary letter?
If anyone has changes, I can make the changes here.
I don't.
Are you reading it now, Orville? Are you? Okay. Nobody has any requests to changes, then I need a motion to accept and forward the community forum summary letter to City Council.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. And then we're on to the proposed ordinance change. Pat, can you please recap the proposed ordinance change from May 11th for us?
Yeah, sure. So a couple things about the ordinance changes. The ones that you had discussed at the last meeting were forwarded on to council, and I got a little bit of feedback from the city attorney's office, and they requested a small change to the language that I proposed, in that there were a couple instances where I said police chief and/or city manager, and they asked that they be changed to just or instead of and/or, which is totally fine with me. But other than that, I think all those proposed changes that you requested at the last meeting will be presented to council pretty soon, I think. I'm not sure when. And then in the package today is another memorandum where I proposed some additional language for another ordinance amendment. At your request at the last meeting, you requested information about when a handwritten report is presented that's illegible. So that's the entire purpose of this particular ordinance change. So
Thank you.
that memo should be in your packet.
I don't have that.
If the person doesn't come in for the interview, does that mean we don't consider it then?
No, so the revision that I proposed said that if it's illegible, so that the chief or the board, either one, cannot determine what the person thinks the facts are or what their complaint is, then there's the ability to request that they clarify those things. But if they don't, then that's grounds to say that we're not sustaining the complaint. It doesn't require that they come in for a discussion. It just asks that they, clarify what the confusion was about.
And Ricky, you said you don't have it in your packet?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't have the packet with
No,
you?
I don't.
Gotcha,
Yep.
okay.
Ricky, you can look at this copy if you want.
Do we need to approve those changes?
Do we have discussion on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, it's the ordinance change, but
Could you talk into the mic?
say,
Sorry.
I'm not sure whether this has to do with the ordinance change, but one of the things that I struggle with is in the complaint format where it says describe the incident. That print is real small and sometimes it's really vague. So a lot of times I'm not able to comprehend exactly what's going on. And I was looking at it and I was just wondering how old is the form that we're using for the people to fill out?
I honestly don't know the answer to that, but I don't think it's that old because it's run through a program called Laserfish. Kelly reached out to our IT department, and my understanding is they're looking at that, but I do know the person that manages Laserfish is not in this week.
Okay.
But she has asked them to see if they can do anything about enlarging that type, but I don't know if they're going to be
Yeah,
able
it would be
to.
really nice if they can create a senior citizen version. for
Okay.
that.
I had a couple of just little things. They're probably nitpicky, and I understand wanting to use certain types of words in legal things, but some of the tone kind of gave me a little bit of a visceral reaction. And I'm wondering if we could change fails to cooperate to something more along the lines of chooses not to clarify. I just feel like it sounds unnecessarily authoritative, or authoritarian, rather.
Well, again, this is just what I drafted for your consideration, so it's up to the board to present whatever you want, so.
Yeah, that's just my one comment on it. Other than that, and then all of the changes that are underlined in it, I agree with.
I think, my feel for that is if we're going to change it to the point that if they don't follow through or give us what we need, then we're just going to, push it to the side and not take any action on it. So if we request that they do that, if they say, well, I'm just not that literate or my handwriting is bad, we have the option of giving them the opportunity to come in and explain it to us verbal.
Mm-hmm.
But if they choose not to do that, then it's not wanting to cooperate, So I think just to sense that we're going to push it aside if they don't give us what we need, maybe to leave that cooperate in there as opposed to clarify.
Okay.
And the way I drafted it too was that either the chief or the board can request that the clerk contact the complainant for help in clarifying. It's not that the chief is supposed to reach out or the board is supposed to reach out to the complainant. It's that the chief or the board requests that the clerk do that.
But I'm glad that we're putting that in there because in the past, we've had some complaints turned in and it was obvious that the person was not very literate or just basically had poor handwriting. And, I think those people deserve to be heard and be able to participate in the process. Mm-hmm. So if you can't do it in terms of the requirements of completing forms and stuff, then, come in and do it verbally. Now, some people are nervous about that, especially when you're coming down to City Hall. So, any way we go, we're going to cross some boundaries concerning comfort zones.
It sounds like it could possibly just be a phone conversation. Is that right, Pat?
Yeah, that's what I anticipated, and that's the reason, Orville, that I drafted it like that, so
Okay.
that the complainant would not have to face the chief or have to face us, the board, I mean.
Could you list phone conversation as a part of the option process? Is that necessary?
Yeah, you can propose whatever changes that you want to consider. The language that I drafted just says that the chief or the board can request that the clerk contact the complainant for clarification. So I would just assume that the clerk would do it by phone, but
Yes.
If you want that specifically put in there, I don't see any reason why we can't or shouldn't do that, though.
Yeah, so under that system, the clerk will contact the person and then issue a new written statement based upon what the person indicates.
I imagine there'd be some kind of report that the clerk would fill out, right? Probably,
I would think so.
based on the conversation?
I mean, I can't really speak for Kelly, but I would, I guess, I think she would contact that person and just, I guess, take notes on, just to clarify the parts that need clarification. Whether it's an actual report form, I don't know, but, but I'm sure she would get the clarification and then share that with all of you.
Yeah, she might appreciate clarification in the amendment, too, if you want to be specific about what we want the clerk's office to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good change, and it's going to improve things, so I'm anxious to see, exactly how it goes.
Do you want to specify call and provide a summary to the board? It sounds to me like you're wanting some more specifics.
I would say the first request that we give them is that if they don't want to submit it in writing, that they can appear, so that because I think we'll get a better picture of what's going on and we can talk to the person. But if the person doesn't want to do that, then basically if they want to give the information to the clerk and the clerk pass it on to us, then that's okay. But my first preference would be that we extend an invitation to the person to, talk to us.
And I think
Can we
the
please
only
pull this
time
up?
That would be,
Talking to Mike there.
that would go to the clerk would be if we can't understand what's writing. I don't think it should be put in as an option. You can write it or talk to the clerk, because that will overwhelm the clerk.
Yes.
I apologize, I don't have that on.
Okay, thank you, that's fine. Okay, Orville. So if we would say, may request that the city clerk contact the complainant for the purpose of, and then say something about presenting the complainant with the option of coming in or clarifying to them over the phone?
Yeah, and coming in and, meeting with our group, or basically, over the phone with the clerk, So those would be the first two possibilities.
Okay, I like that.
And again, that option would only be offered if we cannot
Yeah,
read it.
for need for comprehension.
I'm thinking also about the event that chief can't read it either.
I'm also wondering if we would want to change, if illegible is too specific, if we would want to change that to something more like incomprehensible to the board and/or the chief, because there are other things besides handwriting that could present barriers that could maybe be better addressed over the phone or in person.
I think comprehension is probably the best word to use for this, because this is the roadblock that we're running into.
Yeah, because we can run into issues with language in written reports, we can run into issues with grammar difficulties and things in written reports. It's not always handwriting.
But I think you got two levels here. The first level is when they submit it, the first line is that it's got to go through the office. So if the staff can't comprehend it, then, they got the same problem up front. So, we need to have something that should go for them also.
Okay,
That's part of the reason why we made a change not very long ago to give the complainant the opportunity to respond before the final report is issued. So we made that change that after the chief does his report, copy is sent out to the complainant, and then the complainant has, I think, 21 days. Is it 21 days?
That would be a board decision whether or not to offer discussing it with the board. I mean, even if the clerk can't read it, maybe someone on the board could.
Yeah, but I'm saying that if the concern was that if the complainant was not very clear about what the complaint was, and then the chief did a report that didn't really address what the complainant was trying to express. The revision that we recently did gives the complainant that opportunity to come in and clarify, no, this is really what my complaint is about, instead of what the chief said it was about.
I don't know if this requires a motion or not, but I would like to propose that I take some of the things that Orville said, and if anybody else has any other input on this, and email with Pat and kind of work on revising it a little bit and bring it back to the next meeting. Wondering what other people think about that.
I don't think that needs a motion, but.
Okay. Okay. I will do that. Is that okay with you, Pat?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment for items not on the agenda? Board information. I actually have two things that I would like to add to the next agenda. One was kind of just spurred by this meeting. I would like to have a little bit of a discussion about what we have to offer and what we have in place for language barrier issues.
What was that again? Clarification?
Language barrier issues. I'd like to discuss that and see if I can get some information. I don't know what's available. I'm curious. I'd like to find out. And then,
Before you go on, language barrier, can you give us an example of,
to filing a complaint,
okay.
like how many languages are the complaint forms available in?
Okay.
If they come in another language, do we have anybody available to interpret that? Things like that. If we're going to have a meeting in person with somebody who needs an interpreter, does the city have interpreters available? I don't know any of those answers, and I would like to.
Since we are, getting ready to go down this road, I guess maybe we need to kind of lay the foundation. When we started getting into dealing with various languages, being a university town, we've got a little just about everything. I guess the question is, we may get to the point where if the board is going to communicate with the person filing the complaint, there may be a language barrier, like, us talking about. Do we have money in the budget that allows us to get interpreters?
Yeah, that's part of the conversation I want to have for next time.
And again, that would have to be scheduled. It couldn't be a last-minute thing, like, oh, we're coming in tonight.
I guess where I'm going with it is, if we're going to throw this out there as a road we're going to go down, then it's no use of going down that road that we're going to go down it and run into all these walls. And if it's someone that speaks Spanish, or we got multiple languages, and I'm just getting good in English.
Well, I am pretty sure the city does have a plan in place for that.
Okay.
So we can find out more.
Thank you.
I'll get more information and bring that next time.
Awesome, thank you very much. And then the other thing is, I know that there's somewhere in the code that allows for the board to initiate its own investigation. I am not sure how this works with adding something on to new business that involves a potential investigation. So I'm just going to say that there is an investigation that I would like to request that we initiate, and I need to discuss with Pat how that works as far as open and closed session, but I would like to add a potential board-initiated investigation to new business for next month, please. Does anybody else have any board information or new business for next month? Is there any staff information?
No, I don't have anything.
Now, item number 8 is the tentative meeting schedule and future agendas. We're scheduled for July 12th, August 9th, and September 13th at 5:30. Do those dates still work for everybody?
will be out of town on August 9th, but if you email me with the connection, I may be able to, I'm going to be up way north, so
Okay.
hopefully I'll be able to get Wi-Fi and get in.
I
I
would,
too will be out.
you will as well?
Should we look at changing that one, that month?
Yeah.
July 12th is a city council meeting. I don't know that matters.
We're in the,
Shifted our schedule.
Yeah, I was going to mention, we're in the Dale Helling Conference Room for this meeting because council being here. Now, I'm not sure how that, I'm assuming you have to be a council, right? So. So I'm not sure what we do in that case for a
What date was
council
it, Jerry?
liaison.
I mean, what date, what's that, that everybody's out of town?
August 9th, we have 2 members out. Would you want to look at another, are you out the whole week? Do you want to look at another week or later in the week?
Let's try to keep it on, move it to another Tuesday. and
Another
whenever we
Tuesday?
can.
Okay.
How about the following week, the 16th?
16th?
I won't be back by then.
Okay, what about the 2nd, the week before?
I'm leaving the 31st.
You're leaving the 31st,
I'm
okay.
going to be gone for 2 weeks.
What about,
But I called in once before when I was gone.
okay. Do we want to do the 16th then, so that we just have 1 board member out instead of 2?
August 16th works for me.
Okay. Can we move that to August 16th, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
And it looks like we need a motion to.
Yes. I'm going to move to change the date of the August meeting from August 9th to August 16th.
So move.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Meckus,
Aye.
Townsend,
Here? Yes.
yes. Jensen gone. Downing,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
McConnell.
Yes.
Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive section?
So move.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Adjourn open session at 5:53 PM.
See you later, sir.
I have a question. In situations where individual files a report and it doesn't involve an Iowa City police officer, this comes to us and we've got to go through the formality. Is it necessary that we do that? It's obvious, if it's not involving an officer, it seems like that should be able to be weeded out up front, because it's not something that we have anything to do with, input. It's just a formality. So is that something we can just bypass?
Not as the ordinance reads right now. The purpose of having the summary dismissal is the way we've done it tonight. You don't have to go through the, conversation about anything other than, was it an Iowa City officer? So, I think you still have to, according to the way the ordinance reads right now, you still have to meet and vote on that, yes, you agree with the chief that this should be summarily dismissed for that reason.
Okay, legally, do you see any disadvantages, or what are the disadvantages of, what are the advantages of continuing the way it is, and would there be any disadvantage if we changed it?
I think the potential disadvantage is if the complainant says, yeah, it really was an Iowa City officer.
Wait. I'm sorry, where are we in session right now? Are we
Okay.
back in regular?
Oh, well, I don't think you asked to adjourn executive, so we are back in regular.
Okay, are we recording again?
Yes.
Okay, so we are in regular. Okay, sorry, I didn't open that up. Back in regular at, open session at 5:58. Sorry to interrupt, Orville, I just realized we'd never officially opened.
Yeah, and I got my question answered, and I apologize for breaking protocol.
No, you're fine, thank you. Can I get a motion to summarily dismiss complaint 2208 per section 883E?
I
We have to
move-
do it again in open session?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I move that we dismiss complaint
I second it.
2208.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Downing,
Here, yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
McConnell,
Yes.
Meckus,
Aye.
Townsend.
Yes.
And then can I get a motion to accept the report for complaint 2208 and forward to City Council?
So move.
Second?
Can I get a roll call, please?
Nichols,
Yes.
McConnell,
Aye.
Meckus,
Aye.
Townsend,
Yes.
Downing.
Yes.
And I will move to adjourn. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 6:00 PM.